Everything begins in a different world in the Dacian dynasty. Within the imperial palace the emperor has died, and the dumbest, most ill-mannered, neglected and loser son has ascended to the throne. This is Te, and it was supposed to be another brother who took the throne. He only got this position because of some corrupt politicians who wanted to put him there. Scratching his head, the protagonist wonders why he had to become this massive loser. Obviously he was transmigrated from Earth, where he worked editing videos of girls dancing him. He didn't exactly love that job until on his laptop a message popped up asking which dynasty he would go to if he could travel, but he just said that was a stupid question. He started a keyboard war arguing that the past was garbage, there were no discounts on anything, everything was harder, you could catch a disease and die, and besides there were no girls dancing on screens. But now sitting on the throne he wonders if this is some kind of joke, so he who hates this whole dynasty thing ended up in a place like this. However, the bracelet on his arm begins to glow. A voice says is the artificial intelligence system called Ben, and it can be called Benin. The protagonist is startled, apparently he's not experienced with reincarnations. The system then gives him his mission, which was quite simple. He just needed to let the Tsin dynasty be completely destroyed, and he would return to his world. Meanwhile, the white-haired girl wonders what this useless guy is thinking. Normally he smiles when he looks at her, but today something was different. Yi then turns to the side, wondering who she is and what that is in his mind. Various attributes appear, and the system says she is one of his concubines, basically meant to keep an eye on what he was doing. He could see the stats of anyone related to his objective. The system informs him that her name is Xiaosu, and basically she serves to spy on him. She's wondering if she's seeing something strange, or if he's looking at her differently. Scratching his chin, he knows that this beautiful woman is just there to spy on him, but her charm is undeniably strong. As she wonders if he's seen through her disguise skills, because it seemed like he had noticed something. Suddenly someone calls out to him. Beside him a long-haired man says he seems a bit distracted and asks what's on his mind. Tue already knows this guy must be one of the traitors who made him ascend to the throne, staying the stats. The man has 94 in ints and is the prime minister of the Qin dynasty. Obviously he was part of the plan to put Tuni on the throne to use him as a puppet. Nearby was another Minister Xiao, who had blood power and immense influence in this place, and was also Su's father. While the girl tries to understand why he's acting differently today, he's more concerned about how huge these guys' attributes are. Ben Xiu points something out to him and asks if he's worried that the throne he sits on won't be stable. Toy responds that he actually wants the throne to be unstable and that soon the entire country will perish. Jay was impressed that he responded this way to her father's provocation. Zazu comments that the boy must be uneasy since his brother named Tu, who should have ascended the throne, is out leading troops. Tu now understands why he took the throne and how these men are manipulating the situation. Z reminds him that they are disobeying the laws and imperial decree by placing the boy on that throne. He knocks on the emperor's coffin and says it's fine because it won't open and the emperor won't kill him. However, the same can't be said for Tisu, and besides, news of the emperor's death hasn't spread yet. He shows the jade seal and says they'd better act quickly and use it so that his brother Tusu dies and joins the former emperor. Now Tui realizes they want him to use the imperial seal to command the entire country to kill his brother, so he can't lose the throne this way. Even as king of everything, there'll still be a puppet of these two men. It's sad to know that the emperor's two most trusted people plotted all this before his body even cooled, but Tue doesn't want to get involved in all this drama, not to mention he has a beautiful spy he needs to be very careful with. He wonders what he's going to do in this whole situation. He then glances at the jade seal in Zhao's hand. He snatches it while thinking that this guy won't control him like that. The man Yell is asking to Yi what he's talking about. The protagonist knows that if he himself dies, the Qin dynasty will become unstable, and that way he'll complete his mission. He puts his hand on Zhao's face and says that now that he has the seal, he decides who lives or dies. Zaku is confused. She never imagined he was bold enough to confront her father like this. He asks GS to go against him, while she's frightened by his audacity. Maybe the foolish way he acted until now was all just a disguise, and now that he has the imperial seal in his hands, he holds all the power. Zu warns him that he's being arrogant, and even before the ascension you have the power to put him on the throne, and also to take him off. Tui says to just kill him. He knows this guy has 77 martial points so it will be easy for him to be killed. The man tries to approach, saying he'll strangle him to death, while his daughter tries to tell him to calm down. At that moment Tanwan steps in and tells everyone to calm down, since their goal there is the same. He notices that this guy is much calmer. To irritate him he need to stir things up even more. Chain An is startled, and the jade seal falls to the ground. Immediately Xiao yells, asking what he did. Acting clueless, to be apologizes, saying it slipped. He knows that this seal represents the fate and authority of the entire Ken dynasty. It's how the emperor issues commands in this world. Breaking something like this is the ultimate offense, and he knows these men won't have the patience to tolerate it. Seeing Chan fuming, he already senses that death is approaching, but Chanuan is using every bit of strength in his body to do nothing. Jiao sm and reaches out his hand, but when he's about to say something, Tanwan stops him, saying that His Majesty is just playing. Now that he sits on the throne, the entire world belongs to him, so a piece of jade is insignificant. What's broken is broken, and it's no big deal. Besides, it's getting late, so they would discuss this tomorrow. With that, the two start to leave, but Tui calls out to them. He says that the emperor and common people are equal before the law, so he should be executed, but the two simply ignore him, and the scene shifts to a room where Zixiao says they need to find a way to get rid of Tui. Chuan asks if he doesn't realize the consequences of eliminating the boy. Xu says he's becoming a coward, and still has the nerve to call that kid Your Majesty, but his friend steps closer and tells him to stop being foolish, because Tu Sua's with the troops outside. If they killed Tu, why they would obviously be investigated and surely executed. Unfortunately, when the boy broke the seal, they lost their greatest bargaining chip, and now the only thing they can rely on is his ascension to the throne. Confused, Zazu asks if he's suggesting that Tuni broke the seal on purpose to prevent them from killing his brother Chu, and says he's certain of it. Before they were competing for the throne, but now that he's already ascended, it's better for him to have a good relationship with Tisu. Moreover, if they pressure the boy too much, he could make a deal with Tu and bring his military power here and wipe them both out. This way their plan would obviously fail, and they'd both be executed, something they can't risk at this point. Tui will try to maintain a triangular relationship to control all sides. Xiao laughs and says Tu, one is overthinking it. That child doesn't have the brains to plan that far ahead. However, Tanwan brings up how Tu said that the emperor and common people are equal before the law. That was a phrase spoken by the former minister W. Singo 100 years ago. He rose to the top of the world alongside the emperor, but when he lost the emperor's trust, the poor man was dismembered, quoting a phrase that perfectly fits their current situation as a clear sign of Turi's intentions. Shao replies that he won't bow to this child who only relies on his brother Su's military strength. Even if the order wasn't issued with the Jade Seal, he will send someone to kill Tisu Chachuan. Just watch as he knows they support 2D, because he seemed like the easiest one to control among all the Emperor's sons. Suddenly he starts laughing to himself, saying that the late Emperor really left behind incredible descendants. The scene then shifts to our boy calmly sleeping in his bed, but in reality he's already completely bored with this world. The food is bad and the games are worse. The music they play is awful, and he doesn't recognize any of the characters, and there's nothing to watch without a phone, computer, or anything. He's going to die. However, he notices something beside him, and when he turns, it's dear Shu. I'll just call her Shu to avoid confusing her with her father Zishao. While she is Xia Shu. Blushing, she says that as a servant she must always stay close to him in his chambers. He pauses for a second and immediately turns red, saying he takes back everything he said about this place. Well, some time passes, and it seems our boy no longer even remembers what video games and phones are. I thought he'd be one of those protagonists who does nothing, but our guy is even stretching his back after all this. She then notices the suspicious hairpin she's wearing, and he already imagines this could be a perfect way for him to return to his world. Pouring a drink, he then calls out Xiao Shu's name and asks if by any chance she's a spy sent by her father to stay by his side. Her expression changes instantly, and she mutters to herself that it's impossible. She's been exposed a bit. Awkwardly, she asks what he's talking about and says she doesn't understand, but he simply responds that he doesn't care about her relationship with Zi Xiao Zhu. He takes his sip, turns away, and says he knows very well she was placed beside him to monitor him. He warns that he loves this game they're playing because being emperor without it would be too boring. However, she was frightened, wondering how long he's known this, and if the fact that he's revealing it now means he's tired of this game. He then takes another sip of wine and Says this is truly intoxicating. He collapses onto the table pretending to faint, thinking this is finally the perfect chance for her. She slowly starts removing her hairpin. Now that she's been exposed, she's lost for value to both him and her adoptive father. The only way for her to redeem herself now was to go through with this. Gradually she approaches while he casually hums a little tune, but then the system sends a message about a point. Objective. These points were based on the political, economic, military,